Let's bring into this conversation IDF retired Colonel Miri, who is now the director of the International Institute for Counterterrorism at Reichman University. I want to also note again here, Miri, what the White House spokeswoman saying that there is not a deal for a hostage release, but the work is continuing to secure one. Is it moral, in your estimation, to negotiate the release of a fraction of Israeli hostages with Hamas?
Is it moral to do a terror attack that in its attack itself is to take 240 citizens, babies, old people? There's no morality when it comes to terrorism. And because it's so unprecedented, Jeff, there is no precedent to try and talk now about the morals. I don't know. I'm saying this right now, sitting here and listening to you, listening to Owen, excellent analysis. And I'm thinking to myself, so what do you do? And I don't have an answer. I think that every single one of us is sitting right now and saying, how can you do it for only a fraction? And I'm going to ask everybody listening to us right now, how can you do it for, if you can do for a fraction and you can release the children, the babies, some of the women, the families, whatever we're demanding, how can you not do that? Hamas are a terror organization. They are not going to stand up right now, take the 238 hostages that we know of. Again, those numbers keep changing a bit, but that they have and say, oh, we're done. Because of what we're doing, they are under pressure. Because of what they're doing, they're willing to let out a fraction. Do you not do it? I don't know if it's moral not to do it. And I leave that as a question. I don't want people to have an exclamation mark when it comes to that.
Can Hamas, do you think, even deliver on an agreement if a deal is ultimately reached? There has been statements attributed to Hamas, perhaps as an element of psychological warfare here, that they've lost contact with some of the hostages. They don't know where some of them are. They don't know, they can't locate them or confirm their health. Is Hamas in a position to deliver, do you think, or do they just want the publicity of a confirmed deal and a ceasefire?
Hamas took the hostages, grabbed the hostage, terrorized the hostages as a bargaining chip. They need them. This is something that they need to be able to deliver on. They want to get something in return. And if they don't deliver the hostages, they don't get that in return. That is their bargaining chip. So in that sense, they certainly can deliver on many of them. They are holding many of them. And I'm not saying this to the viewers because I know something that they don't know, but Hamas themselves, when they did the attack and they put out so much videos of what they did and clips and GoPros of what they did at that time, that it is their terrorists that took a bulk. And yes, there are others held by the Palestinian Islamic Jihad, probably held just by, the people. I don't want to call them people, terrorists in that sense. But I think that the fact that they can deliver a large bulk of them means that they can give them all. I'll rephrase your question. Can they deliver all of the children? I don't know. Can they deliver entire families in the way that Israel wants? I don't know. But that's going to be part of, it's so immoral as we're talking, the entire event as it started by what they did, that at this stage along the way, we are now in a negotiation. And then it becomes what you're willing to give, how much you're willing to give. This is their card. It's their bargaining chip. That's the horrifying reality of such a terror attack.
Thank you so much for that analysis. Let's go back to IDF retired Colonel Miri. Miri, I want to return to Gaza. And, we have to read between the tea leaves a little bit here. But as we've been talking about, as Owen's been talking about, President Biden saying that if the PA returns to power, it has to be revitalized before they can govern Gaza. Netanyahu saying something similar, that, as in its current form, currently the PA unfit, leaving a lot of leeway there perhaps for a new form of the PA. What do you make of the argument many are making that the PA was in power in Gaza? They were eliminated in a violent coup by Hamas. Hamas is more popular than the PA in Gaza. Polls show, if not by a majority, then by a consistent plurality, that the PA in any form could not effectively govern in Gaza, and Israel would be safe.
That's why I like the term revitalized, because revitalized basically means anything. You can have a whole new leadership. You can have a whole new next generation. But I'm going to make it harder for us in our conversation, Jeff. You say that the base inside the Gaza Strip not just supports the Hamas, brought them to power, and they were their base there. Let's turn back to the former conversation about Judea and Samaria, the West Bank, and the fact that within the West Bank, Hamas have very strong public support. So it's not just in the Gaza Strip, it's also in the West Bank. And I say that because at the end, when we look at the day after, and nobody knows what that means, and nobody knows when that happens, but we're attacking right now Hamas terror capabilities. We are attacking them in the Gaza Strip, not only in the northern area where we are encircling and going step by step to get to the locations, also in the central and south of the Gaza Strip, not where we have sent the bulk of civilians to. We're also attacking the Hamas in the West Bank and Palestinian Islamic Jihad. So when you talk about that revitalized Palestinian base, I'm looking into the future. We're all going to have to look there. Let's state it clearly. Palestinians who support the idea of two states are not about Zionism and Jewish right, and it's a good idea that we're here. It's much more about acceptance. We are here. We're strong. They have no choice. Hamas, within that world, still call for our annihilation. And the revitalized Palestinians, in that sense, are not going to be about hugging, accepting, that this isn't the kumbaya moment. It's about bringing in leaders who are willing to rule, who think that two states is better than Hamas. It's not about two states being about, again, everybody living together in harmony. It's about two states and mainly a Sunni base in that sense, talking about more moderates, because we could talk about the moderation of the Sunni countries around us, also not something that if we looked at in depth, we might enjoy. But we have to take it one step at a time. We have relations with countries that their bases don't like us, okay? Egyptians don't like Israel, and we have a very steady peace treaty with them. Jordanian people don't like Israel per se, and you can have a steady peace treaty with them. And a revitalized Palestinian arena would be, again, leaders that in their interests, in their understanding of their future, think that it's better side by side in cooperation than trying to annihilate us through terrorism.
Miri Eisen, thank you so much for your analysis, for joining us on i24NEWS.